Hi there, my name is Daniel and I collect stamps. Today we have another batch of stamps to sort through. This is a word mix. We have countries from Australia to Poland, and this is going to be fun. They're all different stamps from different countries, and I'm really enjoying going through these stamps and figuring out what their catalog values are. I can kind of tell from looking at this. I've seen those before many times. They're mostly low value stamps, but still, it's a lot of fun, and please join me as I do that. Our first stamp is from Australia, featuring Queen Elizabeth II, and it has denomination of 1.5 pence. It's a used stamp. You can see the cancel here. I mean, the face of the stamp looks okay. Let's take a look at the back of the stamp. It has some toning, probably from piece of tape that was applied to it. Somebody used the tape as a hinge. Never do that, please. This stamp has design number of 37, and it was reissued twice. First issue was in 1942 with watermark 228, and the second issue was in 1949 with no watermark. I don't see any watermark on this stamp. I still see some remnants of that tape that was there, so it is an watermark stamp. So let's take a look what's catalog number it is. So we determined this is an unwatermarked stamp, so it's number 224, issued 1949, has minimum value, and we determined this is not a solid stamp. We won't be selling it in our store. Our next stamp is from Belgium, featuring King Albert I, and has denomination of 1 centimes. It is part of 1922-1927 series, and the series was reissued in 1926-27, but the 1 centimeter stamp was not part of that reissue. So we know this number is 144, and again it has minimum value, and kind of have this heavy cancel on the front and kind of okay on the back. But this is not just any cancel. This is what called pre-cancel. And again, pre-cancels is a study of its own. So we're not going to go too deep into this one. I'm just going to set it aside as a pre-cancel stamp, and maybe someday we'll do study on this one. Our next stamp is from Brazil. It's featuring agriculture and has denomination 40 centavos, which is 0.4 cruzadas. It is an unsevered vertical pair of stamps. It is design number 185. This design was first issued in 1941-1942 and was reissued several times. As you can see, the C numbers, series of numbers. Luckily for us, it was only reissued once with a denomination in centavos or cruzadas, which were the numbers 656, 670. We can see this is number 661. However, there was another stamp was issued with different watermark, which has a number 661B, and between 661 and 661B there is significant price difference. So 661 was issued with watermark 267 and B was 268. So I assume there was some kind of error involved, because that's kind of scarce stamp. So let's check the watermark on this one. Scott kind of give us an idea of how this watermark should looks like. This is watermark 267. It would have star in it. It says Carreras Star Brazil. And watermark 268 has a cross in it, like that, or plus. Casa da Maeda do Brazil. Pardon my Spanish or Portuguese. And this is why it is nice to have an unsevered pair like that. You can see more of the watermark, and you can clearly see the star in this watermark, which tells that this is a watermark number 267. You can also see the wording Correio, which is a part of 267 watermark. So this tells us this is a number 661, which has a minimum value. And we got lucky with unsevered pair, because these stamps are really hard to identify sometimes. It's a nice pair, but it has some issues. Perforations are rough. There's looks like a damage in this corner. There's some toning coming through on the face of this stamp. Let's flip it over. Yeah, you can see toning right here and right there. This is not a quality stamp. Our next stamp is from Canada, featuring King George V and has the denomination of 2 cents. This is one of the quirks of Canada, being a dependency colony of Britain. For a period of time, most of the stamps were printed featuring kings and queens of Britain. This stamp has design number 43 and it's part of 1911-1925 series. And again, this is I'm using the Scots catalog, which is a standard catalog, and it's not really go too deep into every stamp. There are specialty catalogs for almost every country or every region out there. There's Stanley Gibbons for Britain and colonies. There's Michael's for German and colonies. There's Everett for France and colonies. I stick to Scott. This is what I like to work with. So I know there's a specialty catalog for Canada as well. This stamp is number 106. It's Scott lists 3 different color variations for this stamp. It is really hard to judge color without having any color samples, and actually you cannot really truly show the color through the camera or through the screen. But looking at this with my naked eye, with some of the experience I have, I think this is just a regular carmine stamp. So this stamp has some issues. The cancel, it's a bit heavy, but there is some color loss right here. I saw just strands of paper, something got stuck to it, but doesn't look so, or at least it got stuck to it really bad, and you can take it out. Also on the back, it does look okay, but this is not a quality stamp in my opinion, and I won't be selling it in my store. Here's another stamp from Canada featuring King George VI. Has denomination 2 cents. It has design number 87 and it's part of 1937 series. There is only one issue for this design, and this is number 232. There's no variation beside booklets, which we don't have. This is just a single stamp. So this is a minimum value stamp. It does look good on front, but it does has a sticky tape on the back. Don't use tape as your hinges, please. This is a worthless stamp now. This is our last Canadian stamp in the bunch, featuring King George VI again. And this stamp was printed during the war, hence the military uniform. This stamp has design number 98 and it's part of 1942-1943 series. This stamp was reissued a couple more times as a coil, but this is not a coil stamp, this is just a regular stamp. And this number for this stamp is 254. Also had a couple booklet varieties, which we don't have. This is just a regular single stamp, not a full booklet. It has some condition issues. There's some crease I can see right here and there. Let's flip it over. Yes, you can see crease right here. So this is not a quality stamp. Our next stamp is from Denmark, featuring King Christian X and has denomination 50 oars. Design number is 47 and the catalog number is 286B. This stamp was only issued once. Has a minimum value, and let's take a look at its quality. Doesn't look too bad on the front. Cancel is a little heavy, but it's not too bad. The back looks good. Perforations are intact. I think we'll sell this in our store. Actually, I already have similar stamp lists in my store, so the one we have will go into a backup. Will become part of the inventory, and once this one sells, we'll replace it with another stamp. Another stamp from Denmark, featuring King Frederic IX, next Denmark's king, and it has a denomination of 20 oars. It has design number A61 and it's part of 1948-1950 series. This stamp was reissued several times, but every time they did, they changed the color or denomination of the stamp. In this issue, stamps of denomination 15, 20, or 30 ors had 3 different types. So our stamp 20 ors falls under this category. It was issued in 2 different types, type 1 and type 3. It says type 1 has background horizontal lines, no outline at left for cheek and ear, and kicks uniform textured and strong lines. Type 2 has background vertical and horizontal lines, and there is a line contouring the cheek and the ear of the king, and uniform is the same as the type 2. And type 3 is the same as type 2, but uniform lines double and thinner. And I do have both types in my personal collection. The stamp on the right is type 3, which has both vertical and horizontal lines, and has this line along the cheek and the ear of the king. And you can see the stamp we're trying to identify actually has both vertical and horizontal lines, but these vertical lines are much thinner and not as well recognized as in the type 3, so that the statement from Scott is a bit misleading. That type 1 also has vertical lines, but the horizontal lines are much thinner and more stand out than the vertical lines, and in type 3 the vertical lines are as thick as horizontal lines, and they're about the same thickness, and you can see very well both of them. And the most defined feature is this line along the king's ear and king's face. You can see the ink colored line right here on type 3, and we don't see this line on type 1. So we know the stamp we're looking at, we're trying to identify, is type 1. So we determined this is type 1 stamp, which just leaves us with cut number 307, and also has a minimum value. And again, this is a pretty common stamp. It has some quality issues. See, there's some creases on the edges. Looks like there's some ink missing here. Let's take a look at the back side. Back side looks okay, but still this stamp looks and feels a bit tired, so it's not a quality stamp. This is our last stamp from Denmark in the bunch, and it's featuring this cute Scandinavian lions, heraldic lions, with this cute little hearts all around it. Not really scary. I believe this is part of the country's coat of arms. Has design number 55 and is part of 1946-1947 issue. This stamp was reissued multiple times, not the stamp but this design, and but every time they did so they changed the color or mostly denomination of the stamp. So this stamp is 1 chrome brown color. It can only be Scott number 297. Denomination, I mean the value is minimal. The stamp is in good condition. I don't see any issues with the front of the stamp. Cancel is pretty light. Let's flip it over. Don't see any issues on the back, so I'll consider it's quality stamp. However, I have like 126 similar stamps in my stock and about 10 stamps in my store inventory. So I'll just add it to stock, and we'll be adding those stamps to our penny bins. And what I call penny bin is a lot I put together of 500 or so different stamps that I sell on eBay. It's starting price at about $5. So basically it's about a penny per stamp. Sometimes they sell for a little more depending on the variety in that lot. Sometimes they sell for about $5. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our next episode. Don't forget to stop by my store. Check it out, see if you like anything. It's just fun to at least go through all those stamps there, and I have quite a few. There's over 3,000 in it. So enjoy your day. I'll see you later.